Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to World of Art, Global Perspectives on Visual Art. We're in the fourth week of the course now, and we'll be looking at issues brought up while looking at the art of North America, particularly Indigenous North America, First Nations North America, the art of North America that is not considered Western, and yet it is. We have a controversy to look into here. Some of the issues we're talking about with regard to how diversity is expressed and how the West looks at non-Western art that we talked about in African art, and some of the issues also with regard to relations between the colonized and colonizer also come up in this unit, similar to the unit on Aboriginal Australia. But we have a particular interesting dynamic here in North America with regard to Native American art and its perceptions and its value. A lot of it has to do with identity and who is determining the value. I think a lot of folks still think in terms of Native American art. Somehow the culture is being caught under glass, caught in the past, and when they think of Native American art, they think in terms of the traditional crafts that in some cases haven't changed with regard to technique in many hundreds of years, or are the art that's valued is the stuff that is in fact ancient. These are Zuni jewelry pieces, all the pieces that we're looking at in the slideshow. Again, we went back to the MIA for, so again, another excuse to visit the museum. Gotta go. The traditional arts here are what are valued, and in much the same way, a lot of folks are making the metaphoric analogy that people in the West love the Indian cultures of the past, the Native American cultures of the past, love their stuff, love what they stand for, but can't seem to bring themselves to be involved in the lives of contemporary and modern day Native Americans and their issues and their struggles. So we have many of these items on display to show you, to give you an idea of the art traditions that are long, long, long in many native cultures. This is the Kwakwakwa people of the Pacific Northwest and some of their ritual wear. Here's another example, very famous for what are called their totem poles. The Native Americans, still by Western society, are romanticized and in some cases simultaneously reviled. We have a very strange relationship, and it's one that is explored through the arts. You're going to be looking at some pieces that would definitely be considered traditional Native American art. Again, here is a Kwakwakwa piece, a mask from the Pacific Northwest from about 100 years ago. But you'll be also in this unit listening to the stories and the biographies and looking at the work of First Nations people who are artists today and what they talk about with regard to why they do what they do and what traditions they hold and how they use their traditions to discuss contemporary issues and contemporary issues around being Native American. It's particularly interesting. One of the articles you're going to be reading basically is looking at how collectors are getting very interested in collecting what's called Native American art, but how they're defining how Native American somebody has to be considered a Native American artist, or what the art has to portray or be made of or express culturally, or what technology is used in order for it to be really Native American art. This would be an example of something that would be valued by collectors. This is Mississippian culture, pre-contact, a clay vessel. And this is an example, again, of the Inuit people, who are wrongly called Eskimos. Don't call them that. They're the Inuit. And this is one of their ceremonial sun masks as well, traditional carving. This is about 75 years old. It gets a little sticky when Native artists themselves decide to use contemporary materials, express contemporary ideas, and wrestle with contemporary notions of modern day Native American identity. It's not something collectors seem to want to wrestle with. It is very much an expression of themselves and their culture, but the collectors sort of want the romanticized notion. the past notion of what it is to be Native American expressed in the art, and they want to see traditional uh, ways of making. And they want to somehow see Native American art somehow untouched by the influence of the West. It's a strange issue. It's simply not possible in their own way. Um, First Nations peoples are Westerners. We can't extract contemporary Native American identity these days from influence of Western colonialism. It's not possible. But the fact that there's this romanticized notion that real Native American art is somehow not Western, or real Native American artists somehow are not subject to Western training. They only learn the art traditions from their grandmothers and grandfathers, and don't have exposure to Western traditions, is a really strange controversy, and one we're going to kind of tackle here in this unit. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Here in the MIA we have several examples of Mississippian beadworking, basket weaving. This is the real traditional stuff that comes from a few centuries back that are on display. This is the kind of thing that collectors are snapping up like crazy. This is also traditional Native American basketry. I know what you're thinking. What? And if you're surprised by this, if you're puzzled by this, it really goes to show that we really don't understand the lives of contemporary and modern indigenous Americans. The beef and chicken and pork government-issued food that many reservation children are raised on come in cans that look like this. By making sure that the baskets are woven in a traditional style, they're maintaining their culture's tradition, but by replicating the cans that they grew up with, they're sort of making a statement about what it means to be American Indian today, and the conflation of contemporary issues and traditional craft is evident. And there's another juxtaposition I wanted to see you. On the left are traditional beaded cradle boards from various Plains Indians cultures, getting snapped up like crazy. Somebody was very innovative about 200 years after that and took this suitcase and did exactly the same sort of beadwork on it to tell the story of their travel. This isn't what people are thinking of when they're thinking of Native American collectibles and Native American art. Give some thought to this. What's going on? Why? Just thought you would enjoy this too. We've been looking at a lot of the artwork of the Tlingit and the Kwakiutl and the Inuit people. This is a contemporary Kwakiutl artist from the Pacific Northwest, and he's a contemporary glassmaker. And again, some of the themes are there, the notion of animals and spirits, but this is contemporary glassmaking. Here's another example. This sculptor is sculpting in buffalo horn, and the art of carving buffalo horn was traditional in his culture and pretty much wiped out. He's almost single-handedly revived the art tradition, but as you can see, he's using contemporary tools to carve on the buffalo horn. And that's a self-portrait, and he's making a statement about what it means to be, well, a mixed blood guy, as you can see. The thought balloons on the left side of him that are colored red are insults that he often gets from native people, that he's too white. And the ones that are in white on the other side are insults that he gets from white people about being native. And the butterfly floating overhead is sort of this personal totem. This is reality for native peoples today. And these are revisions of traditional craft working. Why is this not the collectible stuff? What's going on here? And we can certainly see why people would get on board with contemporary technologies. This is contemporary lithography, graphics, expressing the Ojibwa cosmology of the upper world, middle world, and third world. It gets a little bit trickier when we start to see things that we recognize. This is a really great example, a juxtaposition placed right next to each other at the MIA. On the right are traditional moccasins that are hand beaded in the Plains Indians, many Plains Indian styles, many Plains Indian cultures engaged in beading, but this is an example from about the 1800s that are on display. Right next to them on the left is exactly the same hand beating tradition, in some cases nearly the same culture. Just instead of moccasins, the artist chose to embellish a pair of Christian Louboutin stiletto heels, partly as a tongue-in-cheek joke, but also to say, hey, our tastes change as well, and we change as well over time. I love that juxtaposition here. So give some thought as you're doing the readings and watching the videos, and we have our discussion today about what might be going on here. Isn't this funny? I had to add this at the end. We've seen so many of the bronze sculptures of Native Americans charging away on their horses into the distance, and this is a very kind of tongue-in-cheek statement on that by a contemporary Native artist. But give some thought to this very strange, peculiar controversy with regard to the indigenous art of North America, and who determines its value, and on what basis is the value determined, and what makes the art of indigenous Americans truly Native American art, or is that something that is invented by people that are in the collections that are have some other agenda? So give that some thought as you're looking at the work today and the videos of the artists of North America, and we'll have a discussion about it in this unit.